If you listen to the show, you already know that we cannot exist without our sponsors. They are the ones who make things happen behind the scenes. So let's acknowledge Fuji Sports. We've been working with these guys for a while now, not only as far as this podcast is concerned, but also at the RŌL Academy. We've had their gear. I personally use their gis. What a phenomenal product.
Yeah, I mean, jiu-jitsu, judo, MMA, tape, bags, anything you need for your jiu-jitsu journey, you can find at fujisports.com.
Let's talk RŌL TV. There's so much content on there. It's ridiculous at this point. But I think what is even more intriguing, as time went on during the project, we've been recording most of the events that were taking place here at RŌL Academy. At this point, I mean, we have guys like Chris Howder, Armin Fati, Rafael Lovato Sr., and Pete the Greek. I mean, there are so many different events that we've kind of recorded it. Don't you think that's amazing? I mean, points of reflection and kind of going back for all the students to see what really happened and refresh their memory.
Yeah, I think it's great, you know, being able to go back and look at all these high-level practitioners, Octavio Cudo, like one of the names you didn't mention. And I mean, just these guys that have been doing this for so long come in, teach these amazing seminars and workshops, and it's all recorded and there for you to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to get additional savings on all this, type in code RŌL Radio at the coupon and get additional 30% off of your membership.
Nice. Go to rolacademy.tv. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please remember to hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other button there is, and leave us a review wherever you do listen. This ensures that we can continue bringing you the great guests and amazing content that you have come to expect. Today's guest joins us to discuss his natural progression to becoming an academy owner, why it is so hard to be dedicated to jiu-jitsu, the hardest part of jiu-jitsu, and the split he foresees in the sport's future. Here is the RŌL Radio with two-time brown belt no-gi world champion, Clark Gracie black belt, and the owner and head instructor at Walensky Jiu-Jitsu, Brandon Walensky.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
And we are live. For a moment, I was waiting for the red dot on everybody's screen. You know, are we recording?
There.
After like, what was it, like 3 episodes ago that we panicked?
So real quick, before you bring Brandon in, there was a great one when we switched over to Riverside about, maybe 5 episodes into using this, where you just noticed the blinking little red dot in the corner and you would fixate on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? He's really not carrying the conversation. What's he staring at?
It's like it's new things, you know, new things. You get a new technology and Brandon, welcome to the show. Just 2 dorks or 3 dorks talking about jiu-jitsu. I mean, it's just that's what it is. How is life in San Diego treating you?
Oh, it's beautiful right now. Summertime, you know, it's beautiful beach weather. I can't complain, honestly.
Is San Diego the best place to live?
The best and the worst at the same time, I feel.
Whoa! Now you're dropping it, huh?
Yeah.
Why the worst? Everybody's jealous. Everybody who lives in San Diego seems like time is slower over there, and life is better, but it's not so good. Why is it not so good?
Honestly, everything's so expensive. That's the thing, you know. Everything is so expensive. Everybody wants to live here, so it's like, okay, we can't have that too many people here. Let's just back up the prices. Yeah.
You teach jiu-jitsu for living. You are loaded. You are living the dream. You're the high roller, aren't you?
Oh yeah, great. I wish that was the case. Oh man.
But that's often the perception, isn't it? Like, I mean, you've had your academy for a bit now, not long, but for a bit, right? And like everybody thinks that once you have your own business, you're a high roller. Now life is good. You can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah,
you make your own hours, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're a business owner. You can do whatever you want, pay whatever, however, or do whatever. It's like, oh, come here, let's go here. Just call out. You're the business owner. You can do whatever you want. I'm like, it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the business and you opening your own academy and being kind of on your own and in a bit. But first, I kind of want to talk about you first, right? It's like you've been
Okay.
on the mat for a while now. You're well connected with Clark, and we've met like what we established about 5 years ago or so
Yeah, a
at
while ago.
Clark's, right? It's time flies, doesn't it?
It does for sure. A blink of an eye, and I feel like the older I'm getting, and the faster time is passing by.
Yeah, isn't it?
It's scary. It's scary to think about.
Do you ever think about it from that perspective that there's not much time left? Like, do you ever look at it from that? Oh, see, Gary's now rolling his eyes
Oh,
because
yeah.
Gary's like 75, so like
oh,
Gary literally
no.
has like 3 days left, you know?
Gary, I'm sorry, Gary. I'm sorry.
You know, what are you going to do? All you can do is embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. It's inevitable, right? So we
Yep.
take advantage of the time we have left, and like what I'm doing now, doing jiu-jitsu full time. I'm just living the dream, honestly. So I don't really look at it like that, like, oh, how much time I have left. I just do what I love every day, you know?
When you were younger, so look back 5, 10, 15 years ago, have you ever thought about, owning your own place, having your own jiu-jitsu academy, having your own students, being responsible in a sense of
Yeah.
there is a certain weight on your back to carry on every single day. Have you ever thought about that? Was that a goal always
For sure.
from the beginning?
It's crazy to think about, because I feel like the first time I met like it's crazy. The first black belt that I met was like famous, popular, was Annette Stacks. She was like
yeah.
the first.
Oh,
She was
cool.
like the first woman that I met, and I was like, "What? You get sponsored?" I was like, "What? You travel for jujitsu? Like, what? You teach? Like, how does this work?" And I was just like picking her brain. I was like, "All right, done. That's what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna do this full time." And it was probably like my first or second month in that I met her, and I was like, "What? This is a thing? Okay, great. This is awesome." Because when I first started jiu-jitsu, I was immediately hooked right away. I was 13 years old when I started judo, and then I started picking up jiu-jitsu when I was like 15, almost 16. And I was just, I want to do this forever. Like, I immediately knew. And then obviously, as more and more I'm training, the more goals I had, and I was like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do.
Hold on. Let me get this straight. So you were about 3 months in.
Yeah.
You truly don't know what jiu-jitsu is. I mean, like 3 months in,
Yeah.
you're as green as it gets, right?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
meet Hannah, and
Yeah.
and then this is the moment where you say, "This is what I want to do for a living."
Well, not that moment.
Okay.
Like, something in me when I first did it, I was like, yes, I'm gonna do this. And then honestly, like a week or 2 weeks later, I was like, yeah, I dropped everything else, because I used to play basketball and soccer, and I was at that age where like it was getting more political, and whoever knew people were on the basketball team, and oh, you're really good, but you're not the coach's son, so let me just like bench you.
The red tape.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, this is so annoying. Like, I'm better than that guy, and I'm getting chosen because what? His parents have money, or it was getting at that age where it was just getting like, we're not just playing for fun anymore. We're playing to actually like just for money or political views. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was just getting annoyed with that, and then as soon as I found jiu-jitsu, I was like, all right, this is just for me. Nobody can, either I'm good or I'm not good. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna do my thing. And then I started jiu-jitsu, and I was like, yeah, I was hooked. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And then obviously I met other black belts as well. And I was like, you do this for a living, you travel, you do this. I was like, great, I'm there. I'm 100% there, all in.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we had her on the show and actually looked it up. It was episode 47. So if you guys want to go back and scroll down and listen to her story.
Nice.
But what an amazing athlete she used to be. Or she still
She
is,
yeah,
right?
she
But
still
like
is, for
at her
sure.
peak of her jiu-jitsu career, competition career, I mean,
Yeah.
she was one of the pioneers, right? And then you meet her in the first few months of your journey.
Yeah. And
Doesn't
obviously I had no idea who she was, right? I'm just like, oh,
Right.
a black belt woman doing jiu-jitsu. Oh, cool. And then obviously later on, I'm like doing my research, doing all this stuff online. I'm like, holy crap, this woman that made a name for herself in the jiu-jitsu world and has so many accomplishments, beat Gracie and all these, I was like, whoa, this is insane. And the more you obviously dive into that jiu-jitsu world, you see all these other athletes as well. And I was like, man, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that. That'd be awesome.
Do you remember which year that was when you met her?
No, I really don't. It's probably like because when I started, I think it was like, man, I want to say like 2005 when I started training, 2004, something like that.
So
So
in 2000, around 2005,
yeah,
you meet a point of inspiration in a sense,
yeah,
right? And
for sure.
you meet others as well, but
Yes,
these people motivate you. These people push you to start doing this, dig deeper into this craziness of jiu-jitsu, right? This lifestyle, this art, this sport, right? And
yeah,
now, I mean, that's nearly 20 years later, right? You
yeah.
are inspiring others. Have you ever
I
thought
hope.
about this? How tables turned?
I hope so. I mean, not really. I can honestly say I'm pretty humble, so I'm not like, oh, I'm inspiring this guy or this side. You know, I'm like I'm
Oh,
doing
come on.
this or this.
Come
No,
on now. You have your own
honestly,
students. You know,
yeah,
I mean, every day you show up, you
yeah.
inspire people, no?
It's great. It's crazy to think about. I've honestly never like sat back and like, oh, you know, but I obviously try to give my best to my students now, and they've told me many times like, oh, like you're my role model, and I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I don't know how to take it. Yeah, it's just kind of it's like strange, you know, for me. I'm like, no, it's okay, but cool, thank you. You know, I don't. It's weird, but yeah, it's crazy to think about how now life happens, right? It's the tables are turned, and now I'm like influencing the younger generation
Yeah.
and how I was influenced, and it's like a constant cycle, and it's one of the cool things I feel like one of the reasons why I opened up my academy was because I want to be known and like have something to like pass on. You know, we're obviously not going to be here forever. Sorry, Gary, that your time is up.
Yep.
There it is.
Here it comes back again.
Yeah.
You know, but and it's something to be like, you know, when I'm long gone, hopefully some of my students would be able to pass on what I've passed on to them, and it's a beautiful thing to think about, right?
Legacy, huh?
Yeah,
Legacy.
exactly, exactly,
Leaving the footprint, right? I mean, that's kind
exactly.
of
Leaving.
making a little dent, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just something to where like, man, this is awesome. You know.
Let's go back to the 2005 when this is all started. It's always fascinating point for me, talking to different individuals who start jiu-jitsu. Do you remember your first day?
Of course, of course. I remember my first day. I remember everything. So my
Walk me
dad was
through
re-
it.
so my dad was really big into like martial arts. He used to wrestle when he was in like high school, for a little bit, and we were like it was around the time we were watching UFC and like starting to like, oh, the UFC, what is that? You know, MMA, all this stuff. But my dad was really wanting me to do some type of martial art. And he was always like, you got to learn how to defend yourself and all that stuff and da da da. And I'm like, man. And I tried one karate class and I absolutely hated it. It was
Why?
like we were literally punching the same thing for like an hour, hour and a half. The I'm like, this is so boring. You know,
Mhm.
I don't want to do this. This is bad. And he's like, okay, whatever. But then we found a jiu-jitsu. He found a jiu-jitsu school, jiu-jitsu and judo school, and he took me. And I was like, nah. I was all skeptical, right? I was like, nah. It's just this is another word for karate. You know, tang sudo, kung fu, whatever. It's gonna be the same thing, and I'm gonna hate it. And he's like, no, no, no. I promise you, it's different. You know, let's go check it out. I was like, all right, whatever. And first class, I come in, the instructor like has me make a grip on him. I do a little ippon tsunagi on him. I throw him, and then he shows me how to do like an arm bar. And I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, I can like break your arm here? What are you talking about? And from that moment, I was just like intrigued. You know, like what is
Yeah.
this? This is like wrestling, but we have a gi on. You know, so it's from there. From that point on, I was just like I said, immediately hooked.
Was
It's
this in the San Diego area? Have you lived in San Diego most of your life?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in I was born in Carlsbad, and we when I was like really young, probably like 3 or 4 years old, I moved to San Marcos where I am now and where my academy's at now. Yeah,
So a first day, huge impact.
huge, huge.
So
Probably
you go back home after the first class. Your dad brings you home. How old are you? 13, you said? 12?
13. Yeah, 13 years
13?
old. 13 years old.
13. So, I mean, you're a teenager at that point, you know, like there was a logic behind, you know, it's not like you're 5, right? So
Yeah,
you that day you sit down in your bed, you whatever, the day kind of ends. And what are you thinking about all this?
I'm just eager to go back. I can't. I'm like I need to go back. I want to go back. Let's do it again. I still remember I wasn't driving at the time, and I still remember I would get so angry my parents if they like if I was a minute late. You know, I would have like tears in my eyes, like, let's go, we're late. I'm like yelling at my parents, we are late, let's go, let's go. And they're like, oh, we'll be fine, you know, like, and I'm just like tearing up in frustration because I couldn't do anything. And I'm like, we gotta go now. So like
See,
you can
Thomas?
imagine.
So
I was
Thomas needs to stop picking on all the little kids who come in late all the time. It's not their fault. It's
yeah.
I'll tell you that's like a button for me when kids are late to classes. It's like,
No, man,
but
but that's what I'm saying is the parents are sometimes like, whatever.
yeah,
I'm like, you don't understand. I want this. I'd be in school. I'd be no. I just thinking about training and all that stuff.
have
And it's
you?
crazy.
Go ahead.
It's crazy because when I was younger, like my thought process, right? Obviously, our dream when we're playing sports, you know, soccer, basketball, it was always to become at the highest level, right? It was like, oh, I want to play in the NBA, or like, oh, MLS. I want to be, you know, somewhat do this forever. That was my thought process. Whenever I did something, I was always, oh, I want to do this to my best full potential, and I want to be, you know, the best at whatever I can be. And then I found jiu-jitsu. I dropped everything else, and I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do.
Have you ever had conversation with your dad about that first day? Like how different everything would be if he didn't take you that day?
Oh, yeah. It's crazy because I tell him all the time, I'm like, they're honestly, my parents are like my biggest supporters, and without them, I would not be like where I'm at today. And it's crazy to think about because it's like one person like me, I'm like, okay, sometimes I do things, maybe I slack off a little bit or something, but they were always on my ass, you know, always on my ass. And I was like, because they knew what I wanted and what it was needed to get there, you know what I mean? So I'm super fortunate to have them, and it's just like, it's really good. I was like, I think my dad all the time, like, yeah, if it wasn't for them, for sure I don't know what I would be, honestly.
Sometimes it's underestimated how much influence we have on the next generation.
Yeah.
I mean, a simple, like, think about this, the simple day of let's go try this turned into literally your career.
Yeah, literally.
Have you ever thought about what you would be doing if your dad didn't take you that day? Like, has that ever crossed your mind?
Oh, all the time. I'm like, man, if I didn't do jiu-jitsu, I'd probably be obese. I'd probably be working a 9 to 5 job, you know, being a nobody, being, you know, just another person, and nothing going on for me, honestly, because I can't see my life without jiu-jitsu.
Isn't it interesting? And that I think almost every person that we talk to literally says the same thing. I can't see myself without jiu-jitsu. Isn't it intriguing how this art, sport, activity, hobby, whatever you want to name this, however you want to categorize this, we are so addicted to it in a sense that we can't visualize this non-existing.
Yeah. And for me too, to think about sometimes when I talk to people that don't do jiu-jitsu, I'm like, how do you not want to do this? Or like, why do you not want to do this? I'm like, you want to only do this as a hobby? You don't want to, it's just, you know, and obviously for me in the beginning, it was always like, oh, I couldn't understand why people didn't want to train, or like why they wanted to choose something else over jiu-jitsu. And it would just blow my mind. My mind wouldn't like process that well, you know, and I had to like slowly like tell myself like, okay, like people want different things. People don't want the same thing you do, you know. It's like,
you can ask Gary. I have a hard time with this to this day. Like sometimes we have hard conversations about different students and members, and I was like, this is beyond my comprehension. Like I can't logic this. Like I don't understand why you don't want to do this. Like, and he's like, people have different hobbies, people have different people, you know, this, calm down, Thomas, you know, you have to understand. But I was the guy who was literally at the academy, like every single day that I possibly could. And if I wasn't there, I was upset. I would I had regrets and like, I don't know. So it's hard sometimes to see that on the opposite side, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people have told me this already and before, and I kind of like, I see it now more. When I beginning of my training and beginning of my like jiu-jitsu career, it was always, I was very different than everybody, right? All I wanted to do was train. So I would finish school and I would walk to the academy, and I would be like there from like 4 to 8, from the kids class to the adult class. And I wouldn't party, I wouldn't go out, I wouldn't hang out with my friends. I would just train in school, train in school, train in school. All the way up to like senior year, I think. My mom was like, "Hey, you need to go experience like what the
You
normal
need to be
kids are doing."
social, Brandon.
Yeah. But it's crazy because I'm super social, right? I talk to everybody. If I'm at school, I had so many friends, and they would always invite me out, like, "Hey, let's go do this." And I was like, "Nah, I gotta train." Like, "Nah, I gotta go train." And then, but senior year, my mom was like, "No, you got to be somewhat normal and go hang out with friends or whatever." And I'm like, I'm like, I have to skip class for this. Like, come on, this is so not worth it. And yeah, I did it, but then after I was like, nah, so, and, and
I love this. This is awesome.
yeah, and I see it now because I see some of the kids now, like teenagers, that were my age. When I was their age, I would just train, and then I see the talent that some of these kids have, and I'm like, just come train. What are you doing? Like, oh, I have a friend dinner, or like, oh, I have a dance, or oh, I have a hike to do, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, go do that some other time. Go do that some other time. You can totally do that whenever. It's like, dude, you want to go have dinner? Class is over at 7:30. Go have dinner after. It's like, oh no, it's too late. And I'm like, so I'm just like, yeah. In the beginning, I'm just like, this is unbelievable.
It's funny because recently I had the opposite experience. One of our advanced students came in, and I was talking to her. I was like, "Hey, I didn't see you Monday. What's going on?" And she was like, "I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk. I couldn't make it. I couldn't." So clearly there was a hang up over there. She had to do something else, but she was unhappy that she didn't make a class. So I was like, "Okay, well there you go."
That's good. That's good. Yeah. She gets it. But yeah, it's like I have to like tell myself, all right, relax. Don't make it a big deal. But it's hard, man. It's hard because when I was in that position, I was doing the complete opposite. I was like, no, I would not go out. I would be like, oh, you want to go have dinner? Like, I'm done after this time because I'm training, but yeah.
Why do you think this is so hard for some to let go of the fact that we witness other people doing different things, and we know they could be so much better if they focus on this?
I don't know.
We have zero control over any of this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it would be so simple for all of us to say, it's like, well, who cares? I mean, do whatever you want. Why do you think that this is so hard?
I don't know. It could. Well, jiu-jitsu is not easy. Jiu-jitsu is definitely not easy. It definitely takes a toll on your body, on your mind, especially, right? So, I've seen a lot of people where they get frustrated. They're training and they get beat up, and they give it like a week or two, and it's like, it's not for me, or oh, I don't want to do this anymore because it's a lifestyle. It's not really a hobby. It's just a lifestyle. And I'm like, man, like it's hard because it's getting you to where you need to be. They're not patient, or they get eager, or their ego is very high. Like, who knows, but for me growing up, I was the smallest, I was the youngest, and I would get my ass kicked for like probably like a good like 3 years. I would be training for 3 years, and some brand new white belt Marine would come in and just like hold me down, and I couldn't do anything, man. And I would be like, this sucks, but I'm still here anyways. You know what I mean? Because I knew it was going to be worth it in the long run. And
have you ever thought about quitting at those hard points where being smaller, being maybe not as strong, being overwhelmed oftentimes by somebody who is obviously less experienced than you? Have you ever thought about that?
Honestly, never. I don't remember a time where I was like, I'm done with this. Never. I would never think that at all. I would just be frustrated, pissed off, and I was like, no, I gotta try again. I gotta try again. I gotta get this. It's like an addiction.
Sorry, Gary.
Well, have you had the conversations with students that were the opposite, that were like, this isn't for me, it sucks, I'm always getting destroyed, the new guy comes in and I can't do anything?
Yeah,
I just had that conversation with somebody yesterday, and I can relate, right? And so what do you tell them? How do you get them through it or over that hurdle?
Well, I've had like one or two, and I just had one recently as well. Tell me like, hey, like, I don't feel like I'm progressing. I don't feel like I'm getting to where I want to be. And I'm like, well, look, first of all, you train once a week, right? They train once a week, and I'm like, dude, once a week is not gonna get you anywhere. You know, your body's gonna forget about it, and you're gonna get frustrated. And then second, like they come in and they give it their all, but they expect to be the best right away. And so you can't expect that, and when you're not even here training, or you're not putting in the time and the effort, and you got to be, it's something where it tests you in every way, right? Your mental, your physical. If you don't have the patience to continue doing this, and it's like not for you, I guess. But I tell everybody, man, if you like a good like 3-4 months, you're training 3-4 months, and like maybe at least 3 times a week, you're gonna see changes, you're gonna see progression. Like, and it's crazy to think about, because people, when they start, right, they go against the higher belts, and it's like, okay, we're training, but they're still beating me. Well, like, obviously, man, we're all growing together as like everybody together. But then when you get that one person that comes in, the new guy, it's like, oh, you're gonna smoke them, right? Because they have no idea what they're doing. They're trying to overpower, trying to use their strength, but they have no idea, because they're just some random Joe from the street. And then they're gonna be part of that process as well, right? So I try to tell that to everybody. It's like, hey, you can't just, this is not an overnight thing. This is gonna be something you have to put some time and effort into, but it's gonna be worth it for sure, 100% in the long run.
Why do you think people are so impatient with the results, particularly?
I don't know, man. I don't know. People tend to lose their patience all the time, and I'm just like, why? I don't understand. For me, people, I don't get frustrated at all. I'm pretty patient. I don't tend to lose my cool. But other people, I don't understand. I don't get it. I really don't.
Do you? I don't know. No. Well, I kind of gave up on understanding people a long time ago.
Right. I think there's a lot of reasons. Ego is one of them.
Yeah, ego.
Instant gratification is another.
Yeah. Those are big ones.
I think those are maybe the biggest two.
Yeah. And
things kind of. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, I feel like a lot of kids now, they get handed everything so easily. They get handed everything so easily, and it's not that difficult for them. And when they see something that's hard or frustrating, and they can't do it right off the bat, it's like, nah, I'm good. I don't like that.
Yeah, and we get so if we're going to stick to kids, we get a lot of the parents that are like, no, you're committed to this for X amount of time, and you're going to do it. And once that time's up, then you can make your decision. But you also get a lot of parents that are like, oh, he just doesn't like it. And it's like he's been here for 6 classes.
Yeah.
That I don't think they understand the complexity of it, or and that it's going to be hard. They're going to have to work at it.
Yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy. There's going to be tears. There's going to be frustrations, but I guarantee you, it's going to be worth it. And because we've all lived through it, so we know what the outcome is. But like you said, there's some parents that are just, they see the kid like, oh, he doesn't like it, and I'm like,
it's like on to the next thing.
On to the next thing.
On to the next thing until that gets hard and he doesn't like it, and then on to the next thing.
Exactly. And I feel like that was such a huge thing for me. Like I've always been like super it's like a problem solving, right? I've always liked difficult things, to be like able to process them and be able to work through things. And I feel like jiu-jitsu is the ultimate brain teaser, right? The ultimate problem solver, being able to get out of a position, being able to control your opponent. And it's all mental, man. It's crazy to think about, but I feel like it's all mental. Why do you think all these super smart guys are so good at jiu-jitsu, right? Because they're super smart, and they understand their mind, and they understand the movements, the mechanics, and but that was always my thing. And yeah, kids
it's
nowadays.
Interesting, because that's like one of the things that I've noticed over the extensive period of time is that the athletic guys, they will get to a certain point, but the guys who are able to troubleshoot things, who can able to think, make executive decisions under stress, those guys get farther.
Oh, for sure.
They stick around. They just, it's like that the mind stimulation is so high. yeah, like the addiction point to solving the puzzle.
Yeah,
It is so deep.
for sure.
What's the
It's
hardest thing in jiu-jitsu for you?
like now or when I started.
I don't know. Just a question. What's the
Just
hardest thing in
a-
jiu-jitsu?
The hardest thing in jiu-jitsu. I don't know. I don't really.
It's all easy.
No, not. Well, I feel like it was harder back then, But
Oh, so let me ask you this: do you think jiu-jitsu was harder a decade ago, or 2 decades ago?
for me or in general?
Yeah, for you.
Oh, for sure.
Is it
Definitely,
because of the skill or because of the jiu-jitsu has evolved?
I think it's because of my personal skill, right? My personal skill, trying to get to the point where I'm at, trying to be better. But no, man, that's yeah. You stopped me because I'm like I don't know what's hard in jiu-jitsu for me, right? For me, I've always been like I said, a problem solver. So if something was difficult or something was hard, I'd just be like, okay, I gotta figure out how to.
Okay, so let me pivot this in a more generic way. What's hard about jiu-jitsu? Period.
I feel like the patience, right? That's like the hardest part. Like being patient, being able to accept the fact that someone else is better than you in something that you're trying to do. I feel that like in general, that's always been a thing for a lot of people that have been something like, man, this guy's better, or that person's better, or this girl is better than me. Whereas like men are getting tapped out by females, and it's a hard pill to swallow, man, for sure. When people, yeah, I'm sorry.
Let me ask you this. So take a look at the whole scenario. You walk into the academy, or somebody walks into the academy for the very first time, right? They know. I mean, subconsciously, you know that you don't know anything about this, which by a result of that, everybody is better than you. Yet, we step on a mat with the expectations that we can actually beat them.
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic how our brains work?
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane to think about. It's like, oh, he or she is better than me, but in reality, like, oh, I'm gonna do whatever I can to be able to win. I feel like in our nature, we're just competitive, right? Everyone's competitive. Everyone wants to win. Nobody wants to lose. Everyone wants to win. Everybody wants to do well in whatever they're doing. So when they come to this, like, I'm not good at this. I'm not gonna do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be the point where a lot of people give up. That point of discouragement, that kind of one-hit wonder in a sense of, if I can win, I can do this. This is not for me.
And I feel like that's what they don't understand. It's not about winning or losing, right? Especially when you're just coming in to train. If only they knew what we know, right? Like my whole life, I feel like has been so easy because of jiu-jitsu, right? Everything outside of the mats has been just, there's not a problem, man. Someone's choking me and I have to figure out like how to do my taxes. Like, it's just everything makes everything so much easier. I feel, like our problem solving now is just,
all the accountants listening to us right now are swearing at you, right? Like,
yeah,
you think taxes are easy?
Yeah, well, but you know what I mean. Like, okay,
I do.
Let me choke you out, and how you're not thinking about anything else but getting out of this position or getting out of this show.
Yeah.
And so
it is so intriguing how a lot of the jiu-jitsu mentality and troubleshooting and problem solving really feeds into rest of our life, and like
everything. And
I mean, it's
a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, and I've literally everything that I do, or everything that I've been doing, it's because of jiu-jitsu, and it's gotten me to where I'm at. It's crazy, like you said, to think about. It's like, I don't know, I can't see myself without jiu-jitsu. It's crazy.
So speaking of being where you are, you've had your academy for a bit now. You're a business owner. You're a responsible adult. No more partying for you.
Yeah, because all the partying that I've been doing, right?
That one time his mom made him go to a party.
Yeah.
That one time.
Yeah, prom in high school, man. It was a banger, right? Prom in high school.
The untold stories, right?
No, exactly.
What made you open your own business? What made you become, take the responsibility of having your own students? Was there a thought behind this, or was just a natural progression for you?
No, I think it was a natural progression for me. In the beginning, it's crazy to think about every single goal that I've put out for myself in jiu-jitsu. It's like come true, and like in the beginning, it's like, oh, compete as much as I can, get sponsored, travel, teach, and then eventually, the ultimate goal was to open up the academy. And in my white belt days, I've always thought about this in the back of my mind. It's like, how am I gonna make this like a forever thing? And my forever thing was always, ultimate goal was to eventually open up my academy and teach. And I feel it's not for everyone, because personality wise, right, you got to be outgoing, you got to be able to communicate with people, you got to be social, right? And I feel like everything that I've done, it's always been super easy for me to and be outgoing, and man, jiu-jitsu, I just love it so much. I just want to show the whole world, right? So and then eventually it was I opened up my academy 4 years ago. So now we're open for 4 years.
4 years later, regrets?
Oh,
happiness?
Oh, there was only one. There was only one.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, later.
One regret was just waiting probably one more year, because I opened up a month before COVID hit.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so
welcome to real life, huh?
Yeah, it was definitely stressful. It was definitely, well, you guys understand, right? It was a big thing. I opened up the end of January, and then beginning of March, I had to close down. And I was like, are you kidding me? Right? This never happened ever in our lifetimes, a pandemic. And we have to close business. We have to, all my, pretty much my life savings go into this academy, go into this project. And, I have to close it, and I can't teach him. I'm like, what? So that was my one in regret. If I would have known, right, I would have not opened it when I did.
Do you feel like you learned something from that experience?
If I learned something
from pandemic, from closing, being shut down, not being able to do things. I mean, that's a problem on its own that we all had to troubleshoot. That's a problem that it was completely out of our control. And I know you guys in California, it was nuts over there. Not any much different than here in Illinois. I mean, it was like it was like a zoo here.
It definitely made me realize, oh crap, what if this is a forever thing? What if I'm not allowed to do jiu-jitsu anymore? What if I have to be, quarantined or just in my own area, my own space? I was freaking out. I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. How can I make this work if jiu-jitsu's out of the picture? But luckily, I did go to school. I did study to be a radiologist. So I have my x-ray license. So I was always a backup plan, just in case the whole jiu-jitsu thing didn't work, which thank my parents again. They told me, they're like, hey, you need a plan B, anything can happen. You can get hurt. This cannot work, and you need a backup plan. So thankfully I had that still in the back of my pocket, right? My license. So, but luckily everything worked out. So, and we're still here.
We're still here.
Yeah, we're still here.
We can kind of smile about the whole situation and kind of draw conclusions from everything that happened. So 4 years ago, you open up your academy. You make the big decision to make a shift into being an entrepreneur, owning your own business.
Yeah.
Did your mindset change when that happened? So take me back. You get the keys to your space. And you open that place. It's yours. This is it. You walk in there. You're the first one. What's going through your mind?
I'm just excited. I was excited more than anything, being able to have my own place and being able to come in and train whenever I want, whenever I can, and being able to teach. honestly, it didn't really hit me. I feel I'm like, oh, I'm just, going to this place and teaching, going and be able to just do jujitsu. And I honestly feel like it wasn't like a big surprise to me, because it was always, like I said, and from the beginning when I first started training, it was always in the back of my mind, like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And it wasn't like a huge, like, oh my gosh, this happened. Like, whoa, this is crazy. Right. So I kind of like was like preparing myself mentally, being like, this is what's going to happen. And I'm going to open up my academy one day. And, luckily now it's happened.
And now it's happened, and here you are living the dream. Many people
Living the
dream
dream.
about this. I mean, literally, many people fantasize about having their own place. Like I think somewhere typically around blue, purple, people start thinking about these things. And the
Yeah.
closer we get to the
Yeah.
black belt, then it becomes a little bit more reachable in a sense. But
Mhm.
many don't do it. Many don't open academies. Many treat this as a hobby. Maybe don't want to have the responsibility. What was the hardest thing for you this last
To
4 years to owning this and running the place and teaching and then kind of being the guy?
I feel like the balancing everything for sure was definitely a big issue, because from like competing full time, from training full time, to having a business, being able to, like, hey, I gotta teach, I gotta, you know, get merged, get geese, all the back office things, and then I also need to train, and I also want to compete. It's draining, it's time consuming, and I feel like I'm barely getting the hang of like balancing everything, right? Obviously the year, I feel like it was a year, the whole COVID thing, where we're like not doing much, it definitely took a toll. It's where like it's literally stopped everything. I feel like right before COVID, I was on a good momentum run of like competing and doing well, and then be qualifying for black belt worlds, and then, oh, we cannot train, we cannot compete anymore, everything's closed and shut down. And then, okay, now let's focus just on my academy, right? And then now it's like, I feel like now I'm starting to get into the rhythm of like, okay, starting to balance everything out, which is, I feel like that was the toughest thing, was balancing and being able to do everything.
What's harder for you, the competition factor and the stress of being prepared and challenging yourself mentally and physically against somebody else in a competition scenario, or is it the running the operational side of being the business owner?
Well, I feel like for me now, I've competed so many times in a long time. It's like not really a huge thing for me, like to stress out about, right? It's more like, oh, this is exciting, let's do this, like, let's go, I'm ready. But the whole business thing, and now I'm like stressing out about, like, oh, I have to go compete. Who's gonna run my classes? Who's gonna be responsible enough to be there for me when I'm not there? If someone comes in, are they gonna be able to sign up? If I'm not there, what if something happens when I'm not there? What if someone gets hurt? It's all these little things in the back of my mind where I'm like, I'm not 100% there at like my competition mode, right? I'm also thinking about the academy, and is everybody okay? Is everything running smoothly? And that's, now it's what's always in my mind, right? If I go do seminars, if I go teach, or I'm out of town and I'm not there, I'm like, is everything okay? So
Do you feel a lot of pressure in those situations when you are not there and you need to lean on others?
not pressure, no, because luckily I have people that I can trust, and have people that can teach, and that are there, and like I said, I have a good group of guys that are super supportive, and I've had them since COVID, and they've always were super supportive. So I'm not really stressed, but it's just, I always tend to think about the worst possible scenario that could happen, right? So I don't, for me, I don't want that to happen.
Are you stressing out about scenarios in your head?
I'm all the
I
time.
think you're stressing him out right now.
Yeah, all the time, man. I'm like,
Man,
nah.
cut the guy a break.
Because, man, like, you never know, right? You never know.
This is why your mom wanted you to go party.
Yeah.
You just need to chill back, man. Just need to relax.
I can relax, but I'm just,
He just has to do it on the mats.
I just
That's
have to
it.
do it. Man. Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Your
Yeah.
parents got to be proud of you. I mean, going
I
through
think
all these
so.
obstacles,
Yeah.
achieving certain level of expertise, and by certain level, I mean high level of expertise, and then now having the responsibility of you're running things by yourself. I mean, would you consider it as a success? Is that something that you were aiming for, and like this is a good milestone for you?
Definitely for sure. And I wouldn't be there without my parents. And I for sure they were proud of me. You know, they tell other people, and it gets back to me, right? So uh it's it's a dream come true, honestly.
Good for you.
Yeah, definitely something to be proud of. And I people tell me all the time, like, man, you should be, you know. And I feel like that's another thing that jiu-jitsu makes us, it makes us humble, right? It makes us obviously some of us, right? Not all of us. There's a lot of people out there that sort of like, you know, the super cocky and whatever. But I feel like for me, it made me super humble, and a lot of people still to this day, they'll ask my friends or like ask my parents, like, oh, what Brandon did this, and this, he's doing this, and or like he's, you know, he's kind of a somebody, right? And it's like I would have never known because he's so chill and so laid back, and he never like boasts about himself. And I was like, well, yeah, it's like I don't need to, you know. I mean, I have my jiu-jitsu that could just do the talking for me, I guess, right? And I'm like, I feel so weird talking about myself. It's kind of not my thing, but I feel like now I kind of need to, right, to be able to get that, like, that marketing and like being able to get people like, oh, who is it? Why Brandon Walensky? Why not some other person? You know?
But also, I think it's important for us to tell some of those stories, because your new students coming into your academy, they don't know where you started. They don't know where you came from. They don't know the obstacles that you went through. They just see the black belt who's well accomplished, who is clearly an expert in his division, in his area, right? And he's teaching us, and they look up to you. But they don't know that you, myself, Gary, and thousands of others started exactly like that person who just walked into the door, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where it all started. We all had a day one.
Everybody Nobody was born a black belt, right?
No.
Yeah, for real.
So what's next for you? I mean, where are you aiming? It seems like you've accomplished a lot of the goals that you've talked about, a lot of the dreams that you've had as a younger man. You know, you came to a fruition. What's next? What does Brandon want from this point on? Like, what's your dream today?
Well, man, right now, my academy is. I want to expand. I want to get showers in there. I want to be able to get like a little gym in there. So honestly, I'm focusing on that right now. Being able to expand the mat space, get a bigger spot, and have like a showers, have like a nicer. Well, it's nice, right? But I want to get like a bigger and more equipment and stuff like that for my academy. That's kind of like the thing, my goal right now. And then after that, honestly, I don't know, because I'm doing what I've always wanted to be doing, and this is it, right?
Do you feel like you've achieved the ultimate goal in your life? Like you're riding the wave at this point?
Well, there was one. I feel like for me, obviously, the biggest goal was like to become like the black belt world champion, right? The black belt world champion, the ADCC champion, all that stuff. And unfortunately, that's not been a thing for me. But there's so many other little things in that was in play, and I've come to what's that word? Come to like realize that, like, okay, it's not gonna happen, right? But you know, I have so many other things that's going on for me that's, you know, really well that I can focus on.
At which point did that come to realization? At which point did it occur to you that this might not be what's going to happen?
Probably COVID, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably COVID. Like I said, I was, you know, competing a lot, getting the points that I needed for the black belt worlds. I've only done one black belt worlds, which was 2018, 2017 or 2018. I'm not too sure. I lost my second match by points, and then the next year, 2000. COVID closed everything 2020, right?
2020,
yeah, 2020, but it's COVID-19. So 2019, man, I was like killing it, right? I was doing all these opens, I was winning a lot, you know, either first or second place, and I was like, and then on like I think 2020 San Jose, I think I was like, oh, I won. I'm set for Worlds. I'm set for Pan Ams and for Worlds. Like, we're gonna do this again, right? So bam, I'm like, you know, feeling that momentum, getting ready. preparing, and then COVID just like stopped me. That month that I literally did nothing, that was the first time since I started jiu-jitsu that I took a month off of like nothing. Right, I didn't do any physical activity, no jiu-jitsu, nothing. And after that, man, it was a rough battle trying to come back. And then I turned 30 2 years ago, 2022, and now it's like, oh, Masters Division, right? It's like, oh, am I gonna try to do Worlds Adult? And unfortunately, fortunately back then, all the bigger tournaments was always here in California, right? We had Pan Am's here, we had Worlds here, we have the Nationals here, we had everything, all the like most of the Opens here. But now they was all on the East Coast, everything open in the East Coast. And man, jiu-jitsu is not cheap, let me tell you. It's not cheap, right? Especially if you want to compete and travel and do all these things and compete, especially, right? It's not cheap. So East Coast was like, man, I have to buy my tickets. I have to, get a room. I have to, pay for all my stuff. And I was like, dude, like here it was right up the street in LA, and I could go do these tournaments and I'll be fine. And it was a definitely huge investment. And at the time I was like, man, I don't have that money right now. I just opened up my academy during COVID. I'm like, I can't be focusing on competing because I have my academy to worry about. Right. And then that's kind of like the thing. I was like, man, I still did Pan Am's in Florida. I did, I think, a Nogi Pans or Nogi Worlds in Texas. And yeah, they didn't go so well. So I'm like, man, something's going on, right? Something's going on to where like I'm not mentally there.
You said you took a break during the first part of COVID beginning, and it was the first time in a long time that you didn't do anything, and I sensed that this was not easy to let go of jiu-jitsu, let go of activity. What was going through your mind then?
What am I gonna do, right? Well, what is going on? Like, honestly, at first I was like, this is fine. I'll be fine. I'll just take this as a little vacation, chill, relax, just do some other hobbies, I guess. But honestly, it's depressing, right? It's like the whole thing, your whole life that you've been working on for forever, it's suddenly just stripped away from you, and you're like, well, what am I gonna do now? What's the game plan, right? There was nothing. There was literally nothing that's happening. And so honestly, we're just waiting, patiently waiting, and I feel like it's been jiu-jitsu was so such an influence for that part, right? Because it's made me like, okay, we gotta wait and see what's gonna happen, right? We gotta be patient. We gotta, be able to chill, relax, not freak out, and that's luckily, everything turned out fine at the end. But I feel like a lot of people don't really understand that, and they were going crazy. And I have some stories that maybe we can talk about, maybe not, but it's other friends that happened, and it was just like, man, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare for sure.
It certainly was. I mean, like, believe it in it, don't believe it, hate it, like it, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which side of the fence you were on. This COVID thing had a huge impact on everybody. It is what it is, especially in jiu-jitsu community when we share such a close physical contact. It's like, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
You said the returning was difficult. And oftentimes, students, when they take a break, a couple weeks, few weeks, a month or two, returning is one of the most challenging things that they have to face. How did you get through your return? What strategies did you use to really overcome the mental hurdle of coming back?
I just honestly, I felt at home as soon as I came back on the mats. No matter how tired I was or how out of shape I felt or how bad I was doing, I was just happy to be on the mats and being able to train. So it was just like I felt at home, even though it's like I wasn't to my full potential at the time, but I was happy that I was back and being able to work on my jiu-jitsu, right? But I felt obvious. Yeah, go ahead.
Why do you think this is so hard for many people? Why do you think returning back is so difficult?
Because man, it could be a lot of things, right? It obviously it brings you down. It brings your level down to where you backtrack, right? We always
Yep.
tend to go forward. We always want to progress and see us doing well and doing better. But if all of a sudden you're like, oh, now I'm like, I don't know, we're going backwards now. Like this is not working out. This is, this is so hard. I used to beat that guy and now he's beating me. Like what the hell's going on? And a lot of people can't handle that pressure, that stress, the pressure of the stress. And people just like, maybe they stop after that. But it just says a lot about the person coming back, right?
Yeah, those who do return from a break, it says a lot about their drive, about their determination, and oftentimes they overcome other obstacles. They're harder, and then
Yeah, exactly.
unfortunately, many others do give up. Do you
Yeah.
find it hard for students to leave? Do you find it hard to let go of a potential that is, departing for whatever reason it might be?
Mhm. I feel like I've come to just it's hard to say because I don't want to be messed up, right? But I can tell when someone comes in and is like, this guy's not going to be here forever, right? I can tell, and it's messed up, but it
No,
is what it is,
you're
right?
right. Gary and I, we talked about this so many times on the show. Somebody walks in, and literally after a short conversation, whether we'll continue or not. Like, and it's
Yeah,
same thing when somebody comes into the academy. Where they come in to train or they come in to tell you that they are done. Like, it's just
yeah,
that's the
we can tell,
unfortunate
right?
part.
We can
Yeah.
tell.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, if this is something really serious, or it's like, man, you can tell this guy has never had a struggle in his life, and it's like he's gonna come to the most ultimate struggle of like having some man handle you and being able to being stuck, because like it's probably not for them. Or but so I feel like those are like, okay, I already know, I already expected them not going to be staying for a while and they're going to leave or whatever. But the ones that do like have that talent or have that potential to where I see like, hey man, like you can be good, let's keep working. And then they're like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, oh my god, it's like the biggest slap in the face to me, right? I'm just like, dude, you come here, you want to do jiu-jitsu, and you have the gift, like naturally you have, you pick it up quick, you pick up the techniques that I'm showing you like super quick, you pull it off in class, like you're doing so well, and then you're like, nah, this isn't for me. So those ones are the ones that are like,
How do
wow.
you deal with that? Because we've had those too. Like, it's hard
We
to
can't
let go.
we can't control it though, right? They're gonna do what they want to do, and I try to influence them to be like, hey man, like just trust the process. You're already here. You're already putting in the work. Just keep going, keep going. I'm like, nah, I got a party to go to or something. I'm just like,
Maybe his mom told
bro.
him to go to party. I'm just saying.
Yeah, maybe. 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 Oh man.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So how much do you travel these days?
Uh, I just got back 2 weeks ago from La Paz. I was doing a seminar out there, so I think I travel probably like once a month, or maybe like once every 2 months. But if I leave, if I go somewhere, it's honestly just for the weekend, right? I have to come back. I have to be here during the week for my classes and stuff. But I don't go anywhere too far anymore because of my academy, right? If I go to like Europe or Australia, I have to be gone for at least like 10, 15 days. And that's like, it's too much,
Is that
So
too much because you feel obligated to be there, or is it too much because you don't want to be away from the academy, or
I feel like
why?
a little bit of both,
Uh-huh.
because for me, it's like when in my mind, right? I think my students came to learn from me, right? This is what I think, right? They came to learn from me. They signed up with me because I'm the one teaching the classes. I'm the one always there, right? So it's like if I'm not there, what is that telling my students? Like, oh, this guy, he's here. He doesn't really care. He's doing his own thing. We're just here paying him, and I'm a nobody. So that's to me in my mind, right? I want to be the one that's there. I want to be the one that's like helping and coaching my guys. So it's like a little bit of both, where I'm like I put myself in the position of my students and me as the instructor, me as the academy owner. Like I want to be there. I want to be the one to be promoting promoting my stuff, right? My jiu-jitsu. So selling the product that I offered in the first place.
And that's the hard part about business ownership, right? Like you kind of, not kind of, you are one guy and you can't be in two places at the same time.
Yeah.
And more you
And it's
disconnect.
hard because it's hard because I've told this to many people. It's like, I can't, it's not like a Starbucks where I can train a guy for 2 weeks and then I'm good. Right.
Yeah.
We can't do that here. I can't just get some random person and be like, hey, I'm going to teach you for like a week and a half, and then you got it. No, I've been doing this for 18 plus years, and
even if you do train people, it takes a long time to train them.
Yeah.
Right. So
exactly.
like building that system is so difficult. Many struggle with that.
Yeah.
Listen, Brandon, we've been at this for almost an hour. Before we start wrapping this up, what we do end of every episode, we have a question for you from our previous guest. He didn't know that you're going to answer the question. So it's question and blind. Think about it. Completely bright question and dark. It always creates interesting conversation. End of the conversation, Gary's going to take a lead on this, and we're going to wrap it up shortly after.
So this is from Dennis Pinto. And Denis wants to know, how are you helping the larger BJJ community?
How am I helping the larger BJJ community? I feel like my personality, right now, I feel like there's a little, not a struggle, but it's like there's like two ways that are BJJ and Jiu-Jitsu is like splitting. Right. I feel like we're going, one direction is the gi jiu-jitsu, the martial arts, the respect, the traditional, and then the other way, I feel like it's the no-gi scene, the ADCC, the trash talking, the I'm better than you, the disrespect, the MMA scene, right? And I feel like that's what's where the two directions that jiu-jitsu is going right now. And for me, I've always been like super respectful. I've been, being telling everybody like, hey man, like you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. It's part of it, is what it is, right? You cannot be the best 24/7, right? One of these days you're gonna get caught, one of these days you're gonna lose. We all lose, right? Even the guys that have never lost, they like recently they've lost. So it's always good to be humble, be respectful, and I've always liked that part of jiu-jitsu, the martial arts way. So I've always told people, and when like my Instagram or like my students as well, it's like, man, be nice, be humble, don't be that, that douche that trash talks and all that stuff, because they're not going to have your back when you need it the most, right? They're going to be like, oh, he lost, good for him, he sucks anyways, or whatever, it's like, and I feel like it sucks because the younger generation looks at that and looks up to it, and it's like, oh, I want to be like that guy that trash talks, that flexes on everybody, that that is showing the utmost disrespect to the guy, and kids, unfortunately they start growing up like that, and it's like it's not good for the community. That's how I feel. So I've always wanted people to be respectful, and I want them to be better than, and I know maybe it sucks because like, oh, people want to see the trash talk, they want to see the drama, they want to see all this, but it's like, it's not MMA, right? We're not punching, we're not kicking, we're not fighting each other, we're not trash talking, right? You want to do that, go to the UFC, go to MMA. It's fun, I like to watch it too, so it is what it is. But this is jiu-jitsu, man, like a lot of things go behind it, right? So
yeah, no, and I think you're one of the few ones who speaks truth about this. Like it is, the trash talking might be entertaining, it might draw attention, and it might be amusing. It definitely makes money. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Right. But that kind of shifts away from the martial art aspect of jiu-jitsu, of the traditional jiu-jitsu that we all love so much. And not all of the trash talking is good for sport. A lot of it isn't, and it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's like, if you're one of those people that are just trash talking or being a bully, and open up your own academy, like those students are going to mirror the professor, right? They're going to
Mhm.
mirror whatever they do or whatever they're saying. They're going to follow those footsteps, and then now we have more people spreading that,
Mhm.
So it just sucks. It sucks to see, but like you said, it makes money, and people want to make money, right?
End of the day, a lot of it is about money, right? And a lot of it is about the popularity, and that's what the attention
Yeah.
driver is really, really present, and we see that all the time. As we are recording this, ADCC and Craig Jones's thing is happening literally this weekend. So there's going to be interesting few days.
No, yeah, for sure.
We'll see how jiu-jitsu coexists in Monday.
Oh my goodness, yeah, we'll see what happens this weekend. It's gonna be wild for sure. And then obviously too, everybody's gonna be watching, right? Everybody's gonna be watching. Everybody's gonna be wanting to know what's happening. But we'll see.
We'll see. Brandon, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for sharing your story, your life story, your struggles, your successes. All that is truly amazing, and as life goes on, we'll be sitting and watching all the amazing things that you do in San Diego. But before we disconnect, if anybody wants to reach out to you, anybody wants to connect with you, swing by your academy and see what you're doing. Share where you are, websites, links, social media. Where are you at?
Yeah, so my personal Instagram is at Brandon Walensky. I am in San Marcos, California, at Walensky Jiu-Jitsu, but we're affiliated with Gracie Allegiance, so my team is Gracie Allegiance. And my Instagram, my academy Instagram is at Walensky Jiu-Jitsu. And if you're ever in town, swing by, please. Always, everyone's welcome.
Awesome,
Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks again for hanging out with us, Gary.
Yeah, I appreciate the attitude and the last 5 minutes here, especially when you're old like me and you don't have much time left. You want everybody to have a good time, right?
No, Gary, come on, Gary. You have a long time coming. Come on, Gary.
So I appreciate it. I appreciate your attitude about everything. So thank you, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. It was nice meeting you, Gary and Thomas. It's been a long time that we see each other. Hopefully we can get together soon and train some more.
Absolutely. I would love to.
I had so much fun. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And it's great what you guys are doing. It's really cool.
All right, Brendan. Let's wrap it up.
All right, man.
Awesome.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Thank you for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.